A loud TikTok trend is reshaping how Gen Z talks about money. It's called loud budgeting. The premise is simple. Instead of quietly making excuses when you can't afford something, you say it out loud. No, I can't afford that dinner. No, I'm not buying a wedding gift this year. No, that bachelorette trip isn't in my budget. The opposite of quiet luxury, this is loud frugality. And in 2026, with credit card debt at record highs and Gen Z drowning in cost of living pressure, the trend has exploded. Millions of videos, major news coverage. And here's the interesting part. A finance book that came out in 2009, 17 years ago, predicted this exact movement and gave it a full playbook. The book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi. Today I'm reviewing it honestly, what it gets right, what's aged, and whether the loud budgeting movement actually leads to wealth or just to feeling poor more visibly. Welcome to Earnings Per Page, where I distill the world's best finance books into honest breakdowns. Hit subscribe, let's get in. First, the title. The title is sarcastic, not a promise. Sethi's whole brand is being aggressive and counterintuitive. The book is actually one of the most practical finance guides ever written. Lesson 1. Spend extravagantly on what you love. Cut ruthlessly on what you don't. This is Sethi's vision of loud budgeting. Most finance advice tells you to cut everything. Sethi disagrees. Spend stupid amounts on the things you genuinely love. If you love coffee, buy the best coffee. If you love travel, take great trips. But, and this is the critical part, ruthlessly eliminate spending on things you don't actually care about. The cable bill you barely use, the gym you never visit, the subscriptions that auto-renewed 3 years ago, the car that's nicer than you need. The Sethi formula: be unapologetically extravagant in your top 1 or 2 categories and brutally efficient everywhere else. Loud budgeting is just this principle applied socially. No cartoon saying out loud, I'm not paying for this because it doesn't matter to me. Lesson 2. Automate everything. Sethi argues that willpower is overrated. Systems win. He recommends setting up automatic transfers from your paycheck straight to savings, investments, fixed costs, then spending. The portion you see in your checking account is what's left to spend, and you literally can't overspend because the savings already happened. We covered why this works in the neuroscience video. Automation removes your limbic system from the decision entirely. Lesson 3. Negotiate everything. Sethi was famous in the late 2000s for teaching people to call their credit card companies and negotiate down their interest rates. The exact script. Hi, I've been a customer for X years. I want to lower my interest rate or I'll have to switch cards. What can you do? According to Sethi's data, this works roughly 70% of the time. In 2026, this still works. For credit card rates, cable bills, internet, gym memberships, insurance, even rent in some markets. Most fees are negotiable. Most people never ask. Lesson 4. Invest early and forget about it. Sethi recommends low-cost index funds with automated monthly contributions starting as early as possible. He calls it set it and forget it. Don't day trade. Don't pick stocks. Don't time the market. Just buy index funds every month for 30 years and let compounding do its job. This is identical to J.L. Collins's framework from The Simple Path to Wealth. The advice is so consistent across modern finance experts because it's just true. Now, does loud budgeting actually work? Here's my honest verdict. As a social movement, yes, it's healthy. For decades, the cultural norm has been to hide financial struggle behind pretend abundance. Loud budgeting flips that. It normalizes the fact that most people can't afford everything they're invited to. It reduces shame. It builds peer accountability. As a wealth building strategy, partial credit only. Saying no out loud is great, but the underlying problem most people face isn't that they're too embarrassed to refuse expenses, it's that their income doesn't cover their basic costs. Loud budgeting helps the middle class push back against lifestyle creep. It does much less for someone working 2 jobs and still falling behind. The trend, like all viral money trends, has limits. As social media content, be careful. The danger of loud budgeting is the same danger that hit underconsumption core a few months ago. It can quickly become performance. People posting carefully curated I said no videos that are themselves a form of online consumption. The aesthetic of frugality replaces actual frugality. Now, what I disagree with in Sethi's book, 3 things. First, the book is from 2009 and the original edition specifics are dated. The 2019 revised edition fixed a lot, but some platforms, fees, and bank recommendations are still behind. Make sure you read the latest edition. Second, Sethi can be abrasive. His tone is aggressive. He openly mocks people who make finance mistakes and lectures readers in a way that doesn't land for everyone. Some readers love it, others find it grating. Read a sample before committing. Third, the income side of the equation gets less attention than it deserves. Sethi assumes a baseline middle-class income. For people earning less than that, no amount of automation and negotiation closes the gap. Income matters more than optimization. Final verdict on I Will Teach You to Be Rich. Should you read it? Yes, especially if you're early career, middle income, and trying to systematize your money. It's one of the most actionable finance books ever written. My rating, 8 out of 10. Loses 2 points for tone and the underweighting of income strategy, but Sethi's 2 core ideas, extravagance on what you love, ruthless cutting on what you don't, plus aggressive automation, are bulletproof. Loud budgeting is just Sethi's rich life idea repackaged for TikTok. The book gave you the framework 17 years before the trend hit. If this resonated, subscribe to Earnings Per Page. Next week, I'm breaking down a book about how to actually grow your income because, as we just covered, that's where the real freedom is for most people. Drop a comment with one expense you'd say no to out loud this month. See you in the next one.